can hear you now. I think no problem. So.
No, no, you could hear me last time as well, but the video wasn't live last time.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well. Okay.
Okay, let me, it says I'm live. Let me just double check. So,
Are we going to use the general channel hashtag to write things, right, to the people, to the community, or not?
we could use the meetup. Um, so
The
if you,
meetup.
it's Novusphere meetup.
Okay,
Yeah. So comments will be there. Yep. Yep, that's perfect.
perfect.
So, well, it's a little bit strange because we're gonna have comments there, but also we're gonna have it on the form itself. So, but like the form doesn't have to be real time. We check it back, once in a while.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right. So I am here myself. That means we're live. We're good to go. So let me just do a proper intro. Hello, hello. I'm Jack from Novusphere, and with me also from Novusphere is Peter, and we have a special guest today, Alberto from EOS Venezuela. So say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jax. Thank you, Peter, for having me here.
Thanks for coming on. And so, as you guys listening, you might know we recently had Alberto on the platform to do an AMA. Lots of questions. Alberto had a lot of answers, but I think it was good. It was an interesting conversation. I think we wanted to continue a little bit more, but this time in audio form for those of you who don't like to read, which I don't, well, which I don't sometimes. So I completely understand. But yeah, before the recording started, we were having a small conversation with Alberto about the situation in Venezuela. I know we're in the blockchain space, but I think a lot of our readers and listeners are interested in hearing your take on the situation. I mean, you got a few questions there already. So yeah, what's it like? What's your attitude? And tell the listeners the funny little story you had about how the government approached you guys for some help in crafting their crypto. Hello?
Do we have the? Okay, I think we lost connection.
Well, this is curious.
Well, well, I mean, you said the government, and I cut him off.
Oh, imagine that is the case. That would be scary.
Nah, I'm joking. I mean,
Huh. Okay. Well, we're gonna give it a few minutes. I mean, I hope it's coincidence because that's quite the coincidence. He muted his mic. He's typing. I think probably just internet connection issues. Yeah. No. That is, I'm a little worried actually. So for those of you who are listening, Peter just said you started criticizing the government and they have muted you. Um, I hope that's a joke because I do hear like people listening.
well, yeah.
Yeah, they listen into voice channels. But we didn't like all I did was mention the word government. I didn't even start criticizing it, so I don't know what the deal with that is. Oh boy. I'm assuming you can still hear us, right, Alberto? Yeah, okay. So he could hear us, but we can't hear him. Hmm, that is very weird. Uh, you might have to like move to a different channel for communication. That is so strange. Nope, it's still muted, Alberto. It shows on your like. Oh, there you go. You're unmuted.
I think now it's working.
Ah, I'm so happy to have you back on because it just cut out at the time, like exactly. I was like, oh, the someone's got him.
Oh man, this is something, huh?
Yeah, this that was strange. But
Yeah.
for those of you who are
Sorry,
listening,
everyone.
he's back. He's fine.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, what did I miss? And
Uh,
hello again to everyone.
you just missed the part where we were freaking out about the Venezuelan government have gotten to you. At least your channel of communication. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
almost.
So yeah, well let's just start with that topic then. Is there government censorship? Is that like a cause of concern for you guys?
Well, Venezuela censorship is just a topic that it's been with us for for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much in Venezuela, what it can cause a problem to the government agenda, it will be censored
Okay.
somehow, some way.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not such a like a strict rule against crypto. It's just like this is a very I guess, evolving topic with the government. So in Venezuela, until last year,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with crypto on any matter was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because in Venezuela, we have a very strict control over the economy
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
all the currency policy. So
Right.
in Venezuela, for example, we have a nationalized bank
Mm-hmm.
industry. Like all the banks in Venezuela are nationalized
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way controlled by the government.
Right. Right.
We have a very strict control over our trading, I guess, options.
Mm-hmm.
So in Venezuela, you cannot just take your money out and travel
Okay.
because we like all the other countries around the world want to accept our currency, like they want to exchange it
Mm-hmm.
because the only institution that is officially able to exchange our fiat money to any other currency in the world is the Venezuelan government.
Right. Right.
So of course, crypto came on and kind of as a disruptive way to this
Mm-hmm.
control, this monopoly,
Mm-hmm.
and of course it was bad for them.
Right.
So
Right.
everything about crypto it was just illegal, dealing, trading, having, or even mining.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the interesting story comes that about 2 years ago, the military or high political officials in Venezuela
Mm-hmm.
started to bring in miners, Bitcoin miners from China, because we have a commercial special trade with China.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
of course, if you're part of the government, you can import whatever you want. So
Right.
they
Right.
start to bring Bitcoin miners.
Okay.
And of course, you can imagine like in 2016 or so, 2017,
Mm-hmm.
this boom with the crypto market, it just made them actually rich and they started to
Mm-hmm.
love
Mm-hmm.
this idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the government it was took the opportunity to make some profit out of this. And of course, now that you have so many farms and mining activities and actual like wells in Bitcoin in Venezuela, they
Mm-hmm.
start to open the door to it. They start to be more relaxed against this censorship and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the final decision came, I think, the end of the last year. Venezuela, because it has been declared as a dictatorship or dictatorial government,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it got these trade sanctions by the U.S. and the UN. right?
Mm-hmm.
So Venezuela produces a lot of oil, and all this
Mm-hmm.
oil, when you want to sell it around the world, it can be only paid in dollars, because that's pretty much what the OPEC did 10 years ago. They just created the petrodollar.
Mm-hmm.
That is like all the commerce around oil has to be set in or rate in dollars. So Venezuela, because these U.S. sanctions, cannot have any foreign account with dollars, because those are actually the limitations that these sanctions meant to be. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess that the government of Venezuela said, okay, hey, if we're dealing with cryptocurrency, we already have bitcoins, and these officials that are in high, level government are kind of saying that this can be a good idea. Why don't we just try to go over these sanctions, dealing our oil with crypto?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I
And
guess that's where the petrol came from, the idea of the petrol.
exactly, exactly.
Oh.
So the problem with the president and all these people, instead of just, I guess, taking the easy way and say, okay, let's just deal with Bitcoin and
Yeah, yeah.
actually making a good thing for Bitcoin economy, they just said, hey, but what about we just create our own crypto?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I guess that they probably heard about all these hype with the ICOs, the
Yeah,
ICOs, and
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
and they thought that they could just get a cut out of that.
Yeah.
So they create the Petro. Now,
Yeah, but
as
I mean,
I
this Petro, is it actually working or is just a science fiction?
so
Do people
that's
use it?
exactly the problem.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't exist. So see, they just create this
Yeah.
political propaganda. Say,
Right,
hey,
right.
we're going to deal in crypto, and we're going to create our own crypto. And because the entire, crypto community start to say, hey, what about Venezuela having the first state-backed crypto? It created like a lot of fuss.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But when you go to the actual technology and the actual papers, the Petro doesn't exist. I mean, as a token, when you ask to the government of Venezuela, hey, which blockchain is the Petro on? They cannot say anything. The white paper says that supposedly it's going to be on NEM, but the website says that it's going to be on Stellar. And in the first announcement that they did, they said that it was going to be an ERC token, ERC20 token. So they just took it as what it was, fast, hype,
Mm-hmm.
just propaganda.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
tried to do it. They couldn't actually deliver the technological part of it because they have no idea how to create a token, how to deal with blockchain. I think there's just a huge lack of technological ability to
Mm-hmm.
deal
So,
with this
so,
topic.
so from what you are saying, it's not even a shitcoin because it just doesn't
Yeah,
It
exist.
doesn't even exist. Oh man.
Okay.
It's
it doesn't even exist. It's not even a cheap coin that you can just have in your portfolio
ah.
and wait for someday to go up.
But that's very interesting because you mentioned that the government, it's the government officials who bought in the Bitcoin miners. That means the Bitcoin whales in Venezuela are in the government.
Exactly.
That's like,
So,
so like they kind
so
of, you guys have insiders essentially. Like you have people on the inside helping you guys promote the cryptocurrency industry, sort of.
sort of, yeah, but this is the ridiculous part of it. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we keep with the petrol. Today, 2019.
Right,
In
right.
Venezuela, the government said, hey, we're going to use the petrol to pay the public debt
Mm-hmm.
to public workers, right? In
Right,
the
right.
government of Venezuela.
Yeah, yeah.
But because the petrol doesn't exist, they just give you some sort of, how can I say, some sort of,
I owe you.
yeah, I know you, like a voucher. Like,
Mm-hmm,
hey,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this
it's I owe
person,
you.
yeah, this person supposedly have X amount of petros. Now, those titles, those vouchers, you can exchange it today for Russian rubles, because what the government of Venezuela is doing with this petro propaganda and everything, what they actually doing is that they're trying to have an international trade business with their allies, aka Russia, maybe China,
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Alberto,
Cuba.
just one question from me, because I mean, you got me interested from totally different perspective. I mean, those vouchers with Petro, do they exist physically?
Yeah. They just give you a piece of paper. It's terrible. It's not even online. They just give you a piece of paper.
So you
Yeah,
have
it is a paper, yeah.
Yeah, it is a paper.
so you have a paper representing a cryptocurrency.
Could you get one for me?
Is it illegal to export them? Like, is that like?
For my collection, basically, because it would be excellent.
Oh yeah. Because for those who don't know, Peter is a coin collector, so he likes his stuff.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to get one for you. And if I go to Europe, I will give it to you personally.
Fantastic.
But trust me, it's nothing fancy. It's just a very bad looking piece of paper.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be first cryptocurrency existing physically.
Yeah, I guess.
It's very innovative, I have to say.
Yeah, innovative. Yeah.
It's a paper currency representing a cryptocurrency that's supposed to represent a barrel of oil. So
yeah,
that's
yes,
as
something
detached
like
as you could get.
Yeah, with the suppose the most important part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back on topic a little bit more. You know,
Okay.
the peso, the petrol.
The petrol.
Yeah, the petrol. So that kind of like is a government sanctioned way for people to explore cryptocurrency. And Peter sent me an article a little bit earlier with you know, there's a lot of cryptocurrency advertisements in Venezuela. Seems like what would you say is like the awareness of cryptocurrency in the country? Like, I know in the capital city is definitely higher, but like overall, do you think most people have heard of Bitcoin? Like, have they used it? Have they interacted with it? What's the situation?
Well, so the only, I guess, positive side of all these petro scam and the current dealing of the government with the crypto situation is that they have legitimized what crypto means in Venezuela. The president comes every other day and says something about petro, right? So those are announcements that gets directly to the entire population. So if the president of the country says, now we are dealing with cryptocurrency and we created our own, in a way, just legitimize that as a truth, as something that has real value. You know, it's like telling you, well, now besides our fiat currency, we're using this, and you have to take it as, okay, that is actually money. I have to understand it. I don't really get it, maybe, but I know that it exists at least. Now, what we're dealing, us, let's say, EOS Venezuela and all the rest of the people, is actually trying to educate the normal citizen to understand that this is that crypto in general, blockchain in general, is not a scam from the government. Because of course now we have that. If we live in under a dictatorship that, you know, you always get disappointed with what they do. When they start to talk about crypto, you start to relate, oh, well, this is another scam from the dictatorship. So that's our job. Educate right now that, hey, this has nothing to do with the government. This is just technology. It's like talking again about the internet. So that's what we're doing, you know, kind of open the minds and open the eyes to see more than the petrol.
One question. If
Yeah.
let's say today I go to Venezuela, could I
Yeah.
go to the town and actually buy something with crypto, like a coffee or I don't know, whatever?
Yeah, maybe not a coffee because it's not so spread around that something as small as a coffee could be. But
Yep.
but there are many services and people just working with that. So, for example, something that Venezuela is having a lot of now is freelancers. You know, we have a lot of talented people, professionals in Venezuela that because the current crisis, you have no real jobs in Venezuela or not like competitive incomes. So what people are doing is just putting themselves over the internet and say, hey, I'm a freelancer. You can pay me with whatever online payment method, right? And that, when PayPal and all these things are just not enough for our real situation, these people start to discover Bitcoin and crypto. So now you can see a lot of professionals and services and people just say, hey, I can do whatever you want, and you can pay me in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So you have freelancers for like designers, developers, even lawyers. Like for example,
Even
I
lawyers.
found my lawyer in Venezuela just through one of these Facebook groups that people
Mm-hmm.
like crypto aficionados.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, I'm a lawyer, and you can pay me on Bitcoin." I'm like, I love you. Please be my lawyer."
I see. I
So
see.
there's a lot of things that you can find,
Uh-huh.
but in the retailer space, in the very big consumer space,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit more difficult. In the capital, yeah, maybe because of course the capital is a little bit ahead than
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the
Mm-hmm.
country.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's just a few spots around the cities that definitely you'll be able to pay with crypto. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not so public, I guess. Still until last year it was illegal. So still, when you tell people like, "Hey, you should put a sticker or a sign that you accept crypto," they kind of like, "No, no, no. It's better that when you come, you ask, and then I give you the opportunity to pay with crypto." We're still into that transition from illegal to really open businesses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, we speaking of crypto opening the market for freelancers, we actually have a Venezuelan team that's helping us promote EOS discussions in Venezuela and in the broader Spanish speaking sphere as a whole. And yeah, like I think crypto is one of those things that allows us to do that because if even if I wanted to hire someone from Venezuela back then, I couldn't easily just pull out my credit card and like, hey, I'll pay you with my credit card, right? Like it's much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wouldn't. I mean, the credit card wouldn't work because you would pay a fortune. Because I mean, the transaction would be settled at the official rate,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
which is
exactly
nothing.
what Peter
Which is
said.
nothing. Well, I mean, I'm a banker, so I know how it works. But in countries where currency is controlled, it's very stupid to use credit cards because they will
Right,
charge
right.
you.
But you have
Like,
no other option, right? Like if I wanted to collaborate with someone from Venezuela, what other options do I have? Like I can mail them
There's no,
cash, yeah.
yeah,
So.
yeah. You cannot send cash. We don't have like something like Western Union or something in Venezuela
Mm-hmm.
because due to this control, they cannot operate normally there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And on even PayPal,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can have a PayPal account, but you cannot convert that money into cash in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
So people that are working with PayPal, they just remain into the online spectrum of action.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, crypto is like an actual solution, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
awesome opportunity that we have in Venezuela
Yeah, it's an
right
unfortunate
now.
situation, but yeah, I think you're spot on.
Yeah,
Like, it's the perfect breeding ground or growing ground for crypto, actually.
yeah, it's exactly what we're trying to tell everyone and to tell the people in Venezuela. For
Mm-hmm.
example, we have people in our team or in our programs and everything. There are
Mm-hmm.
like non-technological people,
Mm-hmm.
not technical savvy people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, they're like kind of scared, like, "Oh wow, I don't understand what you're talking about. This word
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
blockchain, this word crypto, it seems too difficult for me." But
Yeah, for sure.
once you teach them that, hey, you know what, you can have all your money in your cell phone, and you
Mm-hmm.
can receive and send money just as easy as a text message,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
just changed radical for them. It's just
Right,
like,
right,
wow,
right,
no,
right.
no, I cannot believe this. And once you go over that fear of messing up with the technology, they just say, wow, this is a game changer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right now
Mm-hmm.
we have a problem in Venezuela. There is this phenomenon of the Venezuelan exodus. So since 2016, I think the official number is about 3 million or more Venezuelans have left the country, right? And now you have
How many? Sorry,
these
three
more than
million,
3
more than
million.
3 million. How big is
Hmm?
how what's the total population of the country?
I think technically 30 million.
So that's ten
I mean,
percent of the country.
10%, yeah, 10% of the population left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Wow.
that's like the official numbers. I read the other day an article that says that it could be around 5 million. But yeah,
that's
it's
insane.
difficult to actually count.
Because the
Yeah, it's
borders are,
insane.
I mean, the borders are open really. You know, you can cross the border without any control actually.
And
Well, now
which
it's a
countries are
little
they
bit
going?
more controlled.
Which countries mostly?
Uh,
Argentina, I'm assuming, Brazil,
Colombia and Brazil, I think.
Colombia and Brazil.
Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Panama, the state of Florida in the U.S.,
In Florida.
Spain. Yeah,
That's quite a trek, no?
like Miami, it's full of Venezuelans.
Oh, I didn't
It's
know that.
ridiculous. Actually, one of the things that you can see is like a lot of people that were related to the government and made fortunes in Venezuela and now kind of escape with all the money. They just bought the best real estate in Miami.
Yeah, I
So
heard they're
that's
doing the same
how.
thing in Barcelona as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now, for example, the Trump administration is just busting all these bank accounts. And this is
Ah.
at least the only good news that we have in these days. You know, that the Trump administration is just busting several bank accounts in the US that are related to people that just got fortunes with the government.
I
But
want,
yeah, so,
I wonder if those people will start like storing their fortunes in Bitcoin though. That would be like that'd become like an
oh,
ironic twist.
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah, yeah,
they
probably.
do actually.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
like
yeah.
that they were
I'm
mining
sure of that.
BTC. Okay, well
Yeah.
I want a great conversation, but I do want to take a few questions from our viewers or listeners. So Keck Hernandez from YouTube asks, what short-term jobs do you have, and what do you think about keeping projects anonymous for security when promoting EOS? He also added the comment that PayPal is wiping out the economy of internet nomads in Venezuela. So, Alberto?
Okay, so, a ver, about
Anonymity,
anonymity.
security, yeah. And then
Yeah,
PayPal wiping out nomads economy.
yeah. So about anonymity, I think it was a big issue to keep in mind up to last year. You know, because we had still a lot of people just dealing somehow, some way with the government, like, you know, scholarships or jobs or something like that they were very scared to put their names publicly in whatever thing that it was related to crypto.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think now, with our current situation as a country, that this is just a point of inflection that we cannot just go back, and we are publicly against this control and you know, humanitarian crisis and bad administration of the government. I personally don't believe on keep working on the shadows. You know, um, I think we need to put a little bit more of courage as a society and just like work towards the country that we want. We support like pretty much all the projects that we hear about that are like in Venezuela trying to you know, do some change to our reality and everything. But when someone says, "Okay, I cannot put my name, I cannot put something like that," I'm like, "Well, but I mean, then why? Why? If you don't put your name, what do you think that is going to be the consequence?" I
Right. I
mean, we
mean,
already live in a country that people gets in jail for nothing, that we have no opportunities, we have no money. So what else we have to lose? And that's why about anonymity, I'm not that worried about that topic. I mean, if people want to keep trying, okay, but like for us, it's not a problem. I don't believe that we should care of you know, being quiet or being in the shadows. I think we are much more powerful when we can identify to a public face. You know, when we have certain leadership, actually is when we see more things coming up.
I
Um,
guess that's the thing with Guaido, right? Like he's someone who's, at least as
yeah,
far as I know, like he's the first Venezuelan, again, as far as I know, that stand publicly against the president. And I think once the leader takes that first step, everyone's like, you know what, this is right. You know, we've been keeping silent. No one's been stepping forward to kind of challenge the status quo, and now we finally have someone we can rally behind.
yeah, exactly like that. When you finally can put a face to a movement,
Yeah.
you can follow an agenda, you can follow a project, you can actually keep working to a roadmap to actually achieve the goal that we want as a community. So
Okay.
I believe in that right now. About PayPal,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think in Venezuela we shouldn't have many discussions about which one is better, or if I like a coin better than other or a
Mm-hmm.
service better than other. I think
Mm-hmm.
right now we just have a lot of people that need solution
Mm-hmm.
no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think we should just integrate. I would never say, hey, don't use PayPal, use my service or use
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin or something. I think if it works for you, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can help you to find something better or more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's better to add than subtract, you know?
Yeah, agree. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to try to force someone use EOS when let's Bitcoin is the most widely accepted, most popular currency out there. So yeah, I mean, like, whatever works for people, if that's PayPal or if that's Bitcoin or EOS. So.
Yeah, I think our best argument for
Mm-hmm.
whatever tool or service that we try to promote is
Mm-hmm.
just the relevant, like how relevant it is in the life of the person, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when I when I get into a meeting or an interview like this, I
Mm-hmm.
always said, okay, like maybe you use this service or this other technology. I'm just telling you that maybe in the way that I'm trying to convince you, it can be cheaper, faster, more
Mm-hmm.
efficient, or I guess more free if you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just I think that's our best argument
Right.
right now in Venezuela. When for example, I think right now we have a very good state of our door to the EOS ecosystem, the wallets. There
Mm-hmm.
are a number of wallets that are working very well within apps, within dApps actually. So that's something new for us. In China they have all these ecosystems through your cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I think for Venezuela, for the Venezuelan user, this is something new that just through one app you get into many other apps, always remaining in the same ecosystem and all being linked to each other in the money wise.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something new. This is something
Mm-hmm.
new, exciting, and actually this can be the game changer for us.
Mm-hmm.
When people ask me about cryptocurrency, of course I intend to talk about EOS or
Mm-hmm.
Steam or
Mm-hmm.
EOS, all these platforms that we are involved.
Mm-hmm.
And we work on those platforms just because we believe that they have many things to offer to us.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we take the solutions that we have available?
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that blockchain and crypto in general are the tools that will forge our future. And I don't believe that we should be open to one project or another. I think everything can just do an amazing synergy.
Well, that's a great summary. I think Peter has some questions, but after that, I think we're gonna let you talk about a little about your project and how your project plays into everything. With Family EOS, with the crypto peso, because we've been speaking for about half an hour yet. We haven't even got to your project, so
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was going to ask about this crypto peso of yours
yeah.
because I understand that you run a social project. You are distributing some sort of income support to a certain number of selected people, families, or whatever. But my question is, why did you need to create a crypto peso, or why did you want to create a crypto peso? You could actually use EOS for the purpose.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah. So this is the thing. We created the crypto peso last year. I think it was around November.
mm-hmm,
And when we did the crypto peso, it's actually part of a big plan that we have for Venezuela. Like Venezuela's vision for the future.
mm-hmm,
So we tackle many issues. We talk about how the person integrates into society and the role of the government. These things that actually blockchain and crypto can disrupt.
mm-hmm,
So we thought that for that purpose, we should have a complementary currency in Venezuela that is actually a cryptocurrency, because we start to see all the problems of fiat and how crypto can solve that. And we said, let's create one of our own, just because we don't want to create a token that necessarily is for the open market and speculation and convince international investors and have a volatile rate and all of that. For us, it's just like testing the ground to put this proof of concept, this token, into the hands of the people. So for us, it was just easier to create our own token, the crypto peso, something that can be relatable in the minds of the person in Venezuela and Latin America. So instead of Bitcoin or EOS, say, okay, peso, that is a common label here in all the countries in Latin America, creating with the word crypto. And of course, we need to eliminate the first barrier, that is the purchase of the token. So what we did with the crypto peso is like we airdropped it last year. So it was like giving you the free opportunity to test this proof of concept.
I see.
Now, what we did is like, instead of focusing of creating, market making and all of this, we said we're going to focus on giving the crypto peso value through its utility. So what we want is just like people using it, like having in their hands in Venezuela. And once you have a big community of users, it's just easy to create a complete economic cycle, of holders, but merchants, investors, developers, etc. So that's our vision of it. Right now, the crypto peso is being used as the token or official payment method of the Family EOS program. The Family EOS program is a project that we created because I started to have very interesting conversations with NGOs in Venezuela that were trying to do some help and humanitarian help in Venezuela. And they said our main problem is to actually put the resources that we get in whatever other country in Venezuela, because again, we cannot just send money, we cannot receive cash, we cannot use credit cards. And they started like, hey, do you know how we solve this? And I said, of course, crypto. So that's how we said, hey, you know what? We could do this. We could just like work like in synergy with our long-term vision of Venezuela and the modern economy and the project of our crypto peso and all the things that we do in EOS Venezuela. So we have a big community, right? We said, let's just put this online form and let's hire a social worker in ground in Venezuela. And let's just start to ask, all our partners and people that we know and entire international EOS community that you can do something in Venezuela. When I receive all these messages, hey, Alberto, how can I help? I just read your article and I just read about Venezuela. How can I help? So I said, hey, let's just give an answer to these people that are being so nice and so amazing with us trying to help. So we channel donations that we receive in crypto from everywhere in the world. And we fund the Family EOS program that is a program where we select poor families, families in need in Venezuela, and we provide them with a basic income to actually be able to survive. Right now in Venezuela, the main problem is about food. People are not finding food, or it's too expensive or something like that. So, we got into this very social side that we say, hey, we can do a lot with little. In Venezuela, with $30 a month, it's about 3 times the minimum wage in Venezuela. So it's a radical change to a family's economy when we channel to them $1 daily. So we providing them means to survive this crisis while teaching them to adopt a crypto economy. So it's just a win-win situation for everyone. It's like we have an answer to people that wants to help. We have a solution of how to send money to Venezuela that goes right straight to the person, and we make mass adoption a reality in our country. So right now we have more than 100 families. I think it's about 110 families.
110 families. Wow.
more than 450 individuals, more than 450 people that are
Wow.
actually surviving thanks to crypto peso and family EOS and all the donations from around the world.
That is
So
amazing.
that's amazing. It's a lot, and it's incredible how little it is, as the cost to create this impact. It's amazing that we have got this huge impact with so little in such a short time. So the current situation is this. Now we have about 500 people, right, using crypto peso. We have this pilot program that is working very well. And when we talk about the crypto economics of the crypto peso token, we say, okay, now we have a lot of users. We need to connect them with merchants. So
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
family use program, we have this network of merchants that we are educating them to use the crypto peso, to accept, to have daily transactions on crypto. We open them an EOS account. We teach them how to use these wallets, and that's slowly what we're doing is just closing this economic cycle in Venezuela to have an entire crypto economy.
I see, I see.
And I think that's the main goal for this year, to add a lot of value to the token itself and to really build a crypto economy in Venezuela and mass adoption. When they can actually relate, see the power of it, and we cut the barrier to actually having to purchase the crypto.
Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, like you guys are talking about mass adoption. Like our website barely has 50 daily active users. You guys are helping out 500 people, individuals, almost 500 people. That is amazing. But I do have one question. Is when they how would they like cash out? Like, do they just pay each other in pesos, crypto pesos, or like how does that work?
Yeah. So what we do is like we do a weekly payment, right? That we send out to all these family, and mainly we did a survey today, to always monitor how well is going the program and everything. So we asked them like, what is the main thing that you use this money for? And they said, food, man. We have a very big problem with food, and we
Right,
just buy
right,
food because that's what we need.
right,
Okay,
right.
so what we do is like we connect them right away to people that we are looking for in Venezuela that sells food. So our main community in the program is in a city called Barquisimeto. That is a big city. I think it's the third biggest city in the country. It's very well located, close to the capital. So it's kind of like a good environment, right?
Yep, yep.
And what we do is like we search there merchants, people that are selling food, that have a bodega or have a small supermarket, and try to connect them. And then we just tell all the people in the program, say, hey, you can go to this supermarket and spend your crypto peso. Cool. So we were having that. We have like, I don't know, like 10 merchants, I guess, or maybe a little bit more. But now with the hyperinflation, every day prices change, right?
Yeah,
For
exactly,
everything.
exactly. Yeah.
So sometimes we have this situation where the families tell us like, hey, you know what? We found this other person that is selling food, because now they do these like combos. They create like a little package with several items. Like flour and coffee and blah blah, and they sell it in cash for cheaper. And they say like, hey, so we need cash. Like, it's amazing everything this about the crypto peso and everything, but sometimes we need cash. So we have a small exchange that is working with us officially to always be able to exchange those crypto pesos to cash if necessary. Of
Okay,
course,
okay.
we're trying to always foster that the entire economy stays in crypto, but when it's needed, we have a solution for that also.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, obviously, ideally we want to get everyone on crypto right away, but it just is not everyone's on the same page. So it is nice to hear that you guys have a cash solution for those who need it, even though they should probably spend the cash really relatively quickly, because who knows what you could get for it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible.
Wow. Okay.
Now, we have like a funny phenomena, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
that we have all these families in a group, right, in a text group,
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny because now we're seeing this phenomena that they're trying to get like an entrepreneurial side, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to say in the group like, hey, I have coffee and you can pay me with crypto peso if you want. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have a cousin that, I don't know, he has a barber shop, and if you need a haircut you can pay him in crypto peso. So we start to
Nice.
having this kind of flourishment of the economy by itself without us having to be the pushers of it. So I think that's
Wow.
the real magical thing about this program, and what we are achieving with it.
That's absolutely amazing, and that ties into another question we have from Kate Hernandez. Do you think crypto peso and the Bean token can circulate in Venezuela and help the economy? Bean token, I'm not sure you're familiar, but that's the token from EOS
The EOS
Cafe.
Cafe.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? To be honest, my vision of Venezuela and the future
Mm-hmm.
is like we don't have just one currency. I
Mm-hmm.
think we just have a multi-token economy
Mm-hmm.
worldwide
Yep, and I
where
agree. Yeah.
you have to be, used to understanding how to trade, how to exchange
Mm-hmm.
from token to token, depending on what you want and what you do. I think it's easy that we could have in Venezuela, I don't know, let's say crypto peso,
Mm-hmm.
still working in family EOS,
Mm-hmm.
being bigger and better, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that if there are another communities in Bean tokens, I think we could easily have the situation that they start to trade within themselves. Say like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have crypto peso, but give me some Beans tokens, and I will give you this. I think that will be the real economy when we have that freedom to do
Mm-hmm.
whatever we want with our money and control how we behave around this economy. I think that's the powerful idea.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So yeah, so I think that's the perfect summary to the podcast. I'll again, if you guys still have any questions, drop them now. But yeah, Peter, you got anything to add? Peter's always full of questions. So.
Well, it was very interesting to listen. I mean,
Hmm. Yeah, and I just want to add on the multi-token economy. I think that's perfect. People always think of like money as this like neutral thing that doesn't it's neutral, right? You just money is money, but like money carry with it a lot of different interests. Like American money is good for buying American goods. Euro is good for buying European goods, and obviously if you want European goods, is you probably have to exchange your dollars for euros so you could buy European goods. So I think it's the same thing. Like for crypto peso, maybe the crypto peso is focused on food, and for the bean token, I'm not sure what the coffee culture is like in EOS in Venezuela, but that could be the token of the coffee culture in
Yeah.
that ecosystem. So they don't have to like compete. We've seen like these countries trying to force their single currency on everybody, and to the detriment of everybody. So I think you're right. Like I think the future is multi-token. I think people are gonna getting more comfortable with the idea of exchanging values. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if we have to wait until just one company, one organization
Mhm.
do everything in one place.
Mhm.
It's going to be such a big challenge, a big task. Why don't we just do synergy? For example, just imagine these hypothetical scenarios. If the community of the Bean token, the EOS Cafe, let's say, oh, well, you know what? We're going to focus on getting every single coffee place in Venezuela to accept the Bean token.
Mhm.
Amazing, dude. You just helped me.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
just an amazing thing because I can, like, we as a EOS Venezuela, for example, yeah, we want to change our country and shape a better future,
Mhm.
but we
Mhm.
cannot do it alone. This
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
part that we need help, and we need another mindset, creativity, and synergy,
Mm-hmm.
because this is not something that we can achieve very big things if we behave self self selfishly.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, this is something that if everybody adds a little, if everybody just works a little, we
Mm-hmm.
can just do it things bigger, faster, stronger, and etc. So again, as I said it before, every single blockchain or crypto project in Venezuela, in Latin America,
Mm-hmm.
that things that have a good idea that can
Mm-hmm.
help us in any way, please contact me. We have many ideas, we have sources, we have a lot of people, and we just need more. So I'm open. I'm not these, guys that are just married with one token and that's all. Please, we just want the best things for everyone. And I think that's a task that we can only get if we unite.
Agree, and there is no better way to end the podcast with that. So I want to thank you, Alberto, for coming on again. I thank you, Peter, for joining us. So yeah, so I guess we just say goodbyes.
Well, thank you once again, Jax and Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your support, for your friendship. This Novusphere platform and EOS discussion have been great to everyone, I think, especially for us, but to everyone. I think this is a very good project. Again, thank you for having me here, and I wish you the best.
Same here. Okay, goodbye. Take care. Don't let the government
Bye.
listening.